Welcome back to another video in our Microsoft Azure Learning. In this lecture, we focus on three critical building blocks of an Azure Virtual Machine: VM sizes, managed disk, and network interface. In the previous video, when we create a virtual machine, we saw a lot of options that is configurable when you create a virtual machine. And we use basic or standard configurations and completed our deployment. So in this lecture, we will focus on Azure VM sizes, managed disk, and network interface. In Azure, Azure Virtual Machine Size define the compute capacity of a virtual machine. So when you buy a server, you say, I want this CPU and 100 GB RAM, for example, and 4000 IOPS for the disk. The same way, when you create a virtual machine in Azure, you select a size and that defines how much CPU you're going to get, how much RAM you're going to get, and what are the IOPS that you get. So this actually relate to the performance that you require. If your application need high CPU and higher RAM, but IOPS is not important for you, then you can choose the size accordingly. This is selected during the virtual machine creation, like you saw in the previous video, and this can be changed later easily. Azure VM sizes are grouped into families. You can see here, these are the families: general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized, GPU accelerated, and FPGA accelerated. So here, these are the basic categorization. So if you want a general purpose, you can use the first one. If you want a compute optimized virtual machine, then you can go for the second one. Let's start from the general purpose. So general purpose virtual machine offers a balanced ratio between CPU and memory. So these are suitable for applications like a domain controller, application server, and a small database. Here you can see that there are different family list here, A, B, and D. The virtual machine that we created in the last one was D family, I believe. So this one is enterprise grade application, relational database, and all. You can choose this. Then the next category is compute and memory optimized. So here you can see compute and memory optimized. These are designed for CPU intensive workloads like batch processing and application. Then memory optimized. So memory optimized virtual machines are really ideal for databases or in-memory caching or any kind of analytic workloads that require large amount of RAM. Then storage optimized virtual machine also offer a high disk throughput and IO, are ideal for big data or SQL, NoSQL database, data warehousing, or large transactional databases. So based upon the purpose, you choose the category. Then once you choose the category, then you can choose the family type here. Now let's come back to our virtual machine. Now the virtual machine is not running. If you look at the status, you can see it stopped. So the size of this virtual machine is showing here standard D2S V3. Now let's start this virtual machine. Click yes. Now you can see in the notification it says the executing start command on one selected item. So that means this virtual machine is going to start in a minute. Now the virtual machine status seems running. So let's go inside. Then if you scroll down, you will see availability. So click on the availability, then you can see the size. So here we can resize this virtual machine. Now it is not showing any sizing available, but if the VM sizes are available, then we can resize the virtual machine. When you create a virtual machine in Azure, Azure provide a managed disk. Why it is called as managed disk? Because Azure is managing the disk. You are not the one managing the disk. And it's a block level storage and will be attached to the virtual machine. So here the responsibility of managing the disk is Microsoft Azure. You just consume that disk in your virtual machine. And there are different type of disk: standard hard disk, standard SSD, premium SSD, and ultra disk. So each disk type provides a different level of latency, performance, throughput, and also cost. If you compare this disk based on the use case, you can say standard hard disk is good for backup and archive purpose. Standard SSD is good for web servers. Then premium SSD is good for production workloads. Then ultra disks are reserved for very high performing data. When you create a virtual machine, every Azure VM has an OS disk, and that is used for booting the operating system. Like you, when you create a virtual machine in a Hyper-V, your C disk, you consider it as a OS disk, right? And if you want additional disk, for example, one disk for application data, one disk for log, the same way, data disks that you can create, which are optional, and database storage or log files can be stored in those disks. So separate OS and separate data disk always is good for manageability and improve the performance. Let's go back to our virtual machine, and from here, if you go to the settings, then you will see disks. So here you can see we have one operating system disk, and that is premium SSD 127 GB, and the IOPS is 500. Throughput and other options are here. So here you can usually add additional hard disk, but I think maybe the region doesn't have much storage space that I'm accessing, so that's why it's grayed out. Usually this size can have at least 4 additional hard disks. The next component is network interface. So a network interface is like a network card in a virtual machine. So you can call it as an IC also. Is a component that connect a Azure virtual machine to an Azure virtual network. So each network interface receives a private IP address and optionally a public IP for the internet access. In the last VM we created, we received a public and a private IP, and we had only one network card. You can have multiple NICs per VM. You can either configure static or dynamic IP addresses, and also you can use network security group for binding. You can integrate with a load balancer. All these options are available. Let's go a bit detail into the networking part. So I selected the virtual machine. Then if you go to the network settings, you will see the network interface. So we only have one network interface. If you want to add an additional network interface, this can be done from here. So once again, back to network settings, you can attach a network interface from here. But we already have a network card, and the use of having a second network card is, for example, you want one uh, network card to be exposed to internet and the other one for private connections and all, then you can utilize it. But now I don't have an additional network card, but this is my network interface. If you click on it, you will see more details. So the name of this is chosen by itself by a combination of some random numbers and the server name. So here you can see the public IP address assigned to this and the private IP address. You can see the settings and here the IP configuration. Now it's a DHCP. You can see it's a dynamic now, and you can change the subnet. Now I don't have another subnet, so it's fine. Then a DNS server. Now this is inheriting from the virtual network. We are not providing a custom DNS, but if you need to provide a custom DNS like you provide to other PC, other computers or servers to your Active Directory, in a similar way we can also do this. And this is the network security group, and here is where we adjust the port opening and closing.